Oh, it is on. Like a light switch. In the on position. Intel Extreme Masters Katowice draws near. Let us bear witness to the battles that brought our players nigh in the qualifiers. For today we have none other than the legend from Team Liquid, the Little One. The perennial fan favorite faces the top player from the US of A. The juggernaut, that is Neeb. Not gonna lie, TLO has official underdog status here. So while I might not have him in my sealed envelope to win this best of three, he's not a player I'm ever gonna count out. Okay, so Zerg with the immediate expand, and Protoss with the gate and go. We've been casting a lot of Neeb lately for some reason, and I've found he's become pretty aggressive with that probe, which is a polite way of saying a real pain in the derriere. TLO's quite the vet though. He's unlikely to get rattled. Now having said all this, Neeb's likely just to come take a quick scout and then leave. And here comes our standard extractor and pool timings for our Zerg. TLO tucks his spawning pool in the back there. It's something you do to make it a little more difficult for harassing units to slip behind your mineral line. Neeb's scout gets confirmation of the standard pool timing, and now he's comfortable enough to start an expansion of his own. I don't mean to be a bore, but here comes the core. Cybernetics core goes down and we get one step closer to finding out what Neeb might have planned for this game. The last time these two players met, Neeb defeated TLO 2-1 in the WCS Fall Qualifiers. But the time before, in the actual summer tournament, TLO brought the upset and 2-0'd Neeb. I wonder if he still remembers that. Well, one thing's for sure, he's not going to get vengeance by attacking that hatchery. Oh, but he might if he starts a worker battle. Oh no, he didn't. Oh, TLO's not going to gamble. He's sending help. Also of note, spawning pool is completed and TLO's not making any lings, just 2 queens. Neeb's probe has drawn a ton of attention, but it's looking pretty low. He's going to escape though, possibly earning the Jerkwad of the Year award. Hey, we've got a stalker here, people, for Protoss's initial unit. Usually we see an adept. Oh, TLO's going for his third, but Neeb's hanging around with that probe. Oh, TLO's going to abandon. He's going to go for an alternate location. Oh, Neeb's got to be happy with that. He's got TLO to build in a less defensible location. The advantage to TLO is he didn't have to waste a second spinning around with that probe to find a space to drop his hatch. I'm interested in that stalker choice. This usually tells us that Protoss is prioritizing hiding what's going on in his own base over finding out what's happening in his opponent's. But it might also just mean Neeb feels like killing an overlord today. Will it be able to float out of range in time? No! It will instead be our first blood. And here comes Neeb's tech choice. It's a Stargate, and it's going to be producing an Oracle. I'm curious as to whether Neeb will follow up the Oracle with a Phoenix as he usually does, now that he has a Stalker to clear overlords. We've seen a lot of games where Neeb goes drone hunting with 2 Oracles and 1 Phoenix. Ling speed's about to complete for TLO, though he doesn't actually have any Lings. He's just cranking drones here. He's been able to keep pace with the chrono boosting Neeb, and he doesn't even have his third up and running yet. Neeb can't really punish him for it. A Stalker and an Adept are pretty much the sum total of his army. And the Oracle arrives as we get to the harass phase of the game. Neeb is going to go ahead and make that Phoenix. The chrono boost has all gone into the Stargate, so Neeb's warp gate is going to be a little bit delayed. TLO knows the timings though. He's got spores coming up in his main and his natural. Oracle scouts the third, but finds no drones to kill. There's a queen on the ramp to greet him. He heads back to the undefended third, and there's a drone about to hatch. TLO with the save, he turns it into an Evo chamber. Neeb winds up wasting a whole bunch of pulsar energy on that Evo chamber. The queen's gonna drive him off and protect the third. But the Phoenix has joined the fray now. TLO has 4 queens. Will it be enough to cover? Warp gate's complete and TLO starts his lair. Neeb with the lift on the queen. The Oracle tries to dive in like a hawk, but the drones hide behind the spore. No drone kills, and the newly arriving queen is gonna save her sister. Whoa, what was that? Okay, that was fast, but if I saw it right, TLO started a Baneling nest, but cancelled it in favor of a Roach Warren, and he cancelled his lair and restarted it. He was either trying to fool a scout that wasn't there, or it might have just been a fat finger thing. Or he saw something that caused him to change his mind a couple of times. TLO has Lings now, and he's going to use them to scout Neeb's third. But he won't see the robotics facility. Man, I'm still wondering what was going on with those tech changes for the Zerg. He's up to something. We just see him add 6 more drones on the gas. Right at the natural. And then he's adding 2 more gases at his third. The Roach Warren's about to complete, but that's not exactly the most gas-intensive unit on the market. He's adding an Evo chamber, but we're probably going to need to see that lair complete before the mystery is finally and truly solved. Neeb's Air Force is ready to strike again. Oh, he's got 3 Oracles to go with his Phoenix this time. He might even be able to fight Queens with that. But he finds TLO did make that 3rd Spore. He is going to try to get a Queen. A 3rd Queen arrives, so Neeb's going to decide to go for drones instead. He gets the kill count up to 6 before he's driven off. Neeb doesn't lose a single unit. But you could say TLO really budgeted for the loss of 6 drones. He's practically made up for that in advance. Oh, here we go. Huge round of Roaches for TLO. He's also adding Roach Speed and Missile Attack 1. Big time Roach timing. Neeb's going to be glad he's got an Immortal on the way. He's also going to finish his Twilight Council and start +1 attack. Neeb's going to start researching the Zealot leg upgrade at that Twilight Council. But it's also going to allow him to start warping in the Templar Archive. Oh, say hello, Infestation Pit. Hello, Infestation Pit. You know, if Neeb's thinking Storm, that's not really the best against the Roach Horde that's evolving here. But Archons are always useful, so it's not like it's going to be wasted. I'm just saying, if he knew what was coming, he'd probably be happier with the double Robo. Having said that, watch them prove me wrong as Storms become essential in the next 2 minutes. Oh, this is 1 weak Protoss incursion force. I'd be nervous about stepping on a creep with that, but I think the real point is to set up the stasis boards. But TLO is triggering him with cheap Lings just as fast as Neeb can make them. Neeb doesn't really mean to push in here. It's just a launching pad for his hallucinated Phoenixes, which is going to flush out the Zerg's Roach Ravager force, which is getting pretty sizable. The Roach Ravager count has crossed 20. In fact, TLO's got a pretty healthy supply lead at this point. But there's always that asterisk when the bulk of it is Roaches. It's a long story, but Roaches were balanced with an artificially high supply cost. Neeb gets the picture here. He's headed home to defend. Oh, but his Phoenix isn't going to make it back. With Protoss in full retreat, those Queens are free to set up a creep highway unimpeded. Oh, TLO's making swarm hosts behind this. 7 of them. But no Nidus Worm. I think we're about to see a contain strategy from the Zerg. Neeb knows he needs shield batteries and cannons. He's getting Storm as well. Neeb thinks he's buying time with his Oracles, but TLO's actually waiting for the artillery to arrive. Oh, Neeb's got a ballsy 4th going on here. TLO did get vision of it. I'm not sure he appreciates how vulnerable it would be to a shutdown, though. Wrong again, Zugzwang. He's going right for it. Those Oracles can't stop him. Neeb needs to cancel right now. The corrosive biles are going to drop it. Oh, Neeb is so pro. He just waits to the last second to cancel it. It's for lesser players like me to panic. Those swarm hosts are starting to hatch. The first bunch is actually here. Neeb's got Storm and +1 finishing. He's gonna Neeb it. There's no sign of TLO going for a 4th. This might not be a contain strategy at all. TLO may be looking to win this. And if it was supposed to be a contain, it just failed. Neeb just snuck out a huge force of Zealots. There's a wave of Locusts. Neeb uses Storm to soften them up for the Immortals. But TLO can do this all day, and he's adding even more swarm hosts. And he's using corrosive biles to keep Protoss back while his hosts are on cooldown. Meanwhile, that Zealot hit squad has made it to the other side of the map. Neeb's gonna need those Zealots to get something done because his Immortals are pinned. The Zerg's got over a 40-point supply lead at this point. Both players have taken 4ths at about the same time, but TLO does not know about Neeb's base to the north. Oh, the Zealots have penetrated! They're going after the reinforcing swarm hosts. They do not have escorts, they are vulnerable. Neeb's gonna use the distraction to try to push out. The swarm hosts unleash, and then they pull back. Neeb storms the Locusts, and he pulls back. TLO actually tries to split and dodge the storm, but that is some tough maneuvering. Meanwhile, the Zealot incursion force is really bringing Protoss back into this game. TLO has to pull back to get his own house in order. He is near max with a good bank though, but after 10 drone losses, make it a dozen, Neeb's got the superior economy. It's starting to look like a comeback, though maybe it's as fake as that hallucinated Colossus. Oh wow, the Zealots have completely cleared out the natural. Neeb's marching on to creep with a much bigger army than he had the last time he came here. TLO's about to finish Hive Tech and a 5th. Neeb, a Dark Shrine, and Blink. Neeb's pulling back, which may give him a chance to intercept this huge swarm host army. He sees it and pounces. There's no escorts. Oh, the expensive swarm hosts are dying. They're forced to launch their locusts prematurely. Oh, that didn't sound good. Instead of killing a nexus, the locusts are wrapped up in the middle of the map. Neeb, though, is forced to pull back to his base. Whoa, surprise GG from TLO. Neeb takes game 1. TLO actually just GG'd out with the bigger army there. I guess he saw the writing on the wall with the level of economic damage that he sustained. That's too bad. TLO had early command of this game. Neeb was caught with an underdeveloped army and pushed back into his base. But Neeb's cunning decision to sneak out that group of 9 zealots changed the game, splitting the Zerg's attention and wreaking havoc on TLO's home front. Also, Neeb's timely pullback to catch the unescorted swarm host was crucial here. TLO had decided to go all in with that counterattack, and when it got spotted and disrupted, he decided it was time to move on to...
Game 2.
If you're TLO, how do you take that loss? I just hit him with my best punch, went up 40 supply, and I still lost? Or, I almost had Neeb, 1 or 2 less mistakes, and I got this. Our Protoss player's on match point. He is Neeb. And as we often see on Nightshade, he's gonna look to set up a wall off that is natural. Our Zerg player is standing on the brink of elimination. He is TLO! 2 things I'll be looking for this game. Is TLO gonna go 0 lings after pool again? And is Neeb gonna do that cool Sim City thing at his 3rd, where he sort of wedges his adepts inside of 2 pylons? Looks like I'll have to wait a little bit to find out, because all early signs point to the same builds as last game. A hatch first and a gate and go. Last time they did this, in game 1, Neeb was able to use his probe to disrupt TLO's choice of 3rd. I strongly suspect he's recycled the exact same drone and he's gonna try it again. Why not? Zerg essentially conceded the location last time. And here comes TLO's extractor and pool. I said extractor and pool. And pool, thank you. Neeb's probe has arrived and TLO immediately puts a drone on him. Oh, he didn't like what happened last game. Oh, he's got the sandwich on the probe! Neeb with the escape. He was 1 hit away from getting that kill. Oh, that was great. He just trapped him between the mineral line and the extractor. There's the expansion for Protoss. Oh, Neeb's probe is undeterred. He's going back in. What a scrapper. All he's got is shields. And he's doing patch denial. He is so asking for it. Oh yeah, TLO can't resist the bait. He's going right for him. And Neeb has what he wants. He's got a drone to chase him. And no, TLO puts it on gas. So Neeb comes right back again. Oh, it's another pin! He gets him this time! That's gotta be the most excited I've ever been to see a probe go up in smoke. And not just because it was our first blood. There's the eggplant geyser on that natural. The spawning pool also completes and TLO goes into double queen production. Once again, no lings. That's kind of growing on me, by the way. You can usually defend that adept with queens alone. And if you're gonna make safety spores blind based on timing, you don't need the ling scouting quite as much. It's interesting. And there's the ling speed upgrade, even though we've got no lings. Neeb's opening tech choice will be Stargate once again. He's going Adept instead of Stalker this time, though. But odds are good it's still going to be an Oracle followed by a Phoenix. Neeb's going to commence researching warp gates, and that beautiful pyramid is going to warp in before our eyes. Supposedly, the real pyramids of ancient Egypt feature blocks of over 50 tons. Given that there was obviously no heavy machinery or hydraulics back then, it's insane to think that human labor could have ever moved a block that size. I mean, obviously the StarCraft community knows that they were just warped in, but most scientists don't appreciate that. Anywho, unless that shade completes, Neeb's gonna get a scout on that new 3rd. Oh, he is gonna complete it. He's going inside. The initial links still haven't popped, but there's 2 queens there. The Adip rolls behind the mineral line for the snipe. TLO converts an injured drone into a spore. The slow lings pick up the chase, but Neeb escapes with the shade out. No kills in that encounter. Meanwhile, the Stargate has completed back at the Protoss main, and an Oracle is halfway into production. Oh, the Adept encounter's not over. The lings are chasing down the Adept. They're slow now, but they're about to convert to speed. Neeb sees it. He drops the safety shade, and then he tries to snipe a ling. But it backfires. The lings are on him. He needs to shade away right now. Ooh! He splats 1 ling, but the other 3 tear him to shreds. Neeb does, though, have 2 more Adepts in the door guard position. The Oracle is now out, and there is a Phoenix in production. A great start for TLO, by the way. It's always a good sign when Protoss has way more resources lost. 2 spores are in production, but they're not quite here yet. Neeb buzzes the third, but TLO has the perfect defense there. There's simply nothing there. Neeb arcs around to see if he can get at the main or the natural. TLO usually likes to stash a queen on his ramp. He does once again, and he gets a couple shots at that oracle. An additional spore hit means his shields are gone, and Neeb decides to call it a day. His Phoenix will satisfyingly hunt an Overlord, though. Oh, I'm wrong. Neeb's going back in without shields. He catches the first drone popping at the third. He nails it. TLO projects his other drone with an extractor trick, and then he cancels it. And while all of this was going on, he started his lair. Neeb, on the other hand, has commenced the warping in of a robotics facility. And he's got a second Oracle out. That's his third air unit. TLO realizes he wants a spore at that third. Speaking of third bases, Neeb's gonna grab his. Oh, and he's gonna do that new Sim City thing I love so much. Just watch this. You get a pylon on either side, and then he crams in his Adepts and Sentry. Once the pylons are up, the Lings can't get any surface area to really attack. But meanwhile, Neeb's Unholy Trinity is ready to go. He gathers his units together and the raid begins. There's 1 spore, 2 queens at the natural, but he's going for the main. The main and natural are not connected by creep. Oh! Neeb deeps back to the natural. Pulsar beams are active. The spore is targeting the Phoenix instead of the oracles. And Neeb escapes with 4 kills. No losses. A Phoenix has 20 more hit points than an oracle. And his spore does 15 points of damage. TLO scouts that third, or at least he does until it's murdered. Neeb's gonna conservatively take that as his cue to add a shield battery. Meanwhile, the Roach Warren's about to pop. No immediate sign of roaches, but we do have Overlord speed in production, as well as Roach speed now. Wait, where are the oracles? They're going for another attack run. The Phoenix is too badly damaged to come along, but they're getting the job done nonetheless. There's only 1 queen here, and it looks to be 5 more drone kills for Neeb. Normally 10 drone kills is pretty significant, but TLO's been droning up so heavily he might be okay. The Protoss third expansion finishes, and he warps in 3 Zealots to celebrate. Oh, TLO managed to save that Overseer. Neeb's pushing out with a small force again. He's probably not aware that TLO is powering roaches right now. He does have an Immortal linking up, but only just 1. He's probably just looking to set up his usual field of stasis wards. Or clear creep with the Observer that's on his way. Whoa, wait, what is with a cloud of Overlords? OMG, TLO's pushing out at the exact same time. He doesn't have roach speed yet, but he doesn't care. He's going for it. Neeb is like, ruh-roh. He drops a quartet of force fields to slow the roaches as he beats a hasty retreat. The Overlords are dropping creep to make a highway. He's gonna make his own surrogate roach speed. And the queens are coming too. TLO is committing very heavily to this. Neeb's like, why are there creep pools all over my side of the map? He retreats back to his natural, but finds that the Speedlords have beat him there. Well appreciating the threat level, Neeb's gonna add 3 more shield batteries. But it will be a while before they're here. He does have the Immortal count up to 3 though, that's critical. There are 13 roaches on the field. TLO's also got 3 Ravagers and all 6 of his queens in this. Neeb's trying to drop Stasis wards in his ramp to buy time. It stops the queen from dropping a tumor on his ramp. TLO's achieved a contain, but he's got so much committed to this he probably needs to do damage. A much bigger armory, but he's behind 9 workers, and he's on even bases. Neeb is only a few seconds away from getting an upgrade advantage. +1 attack for Protoss is about to finish. TLO skipped the Evo chamber entirely, but he uses a wave of corrosive biles to get up the ramp. He's on top of Neeb's core. Neeb retreats to his shield batteries. They are finished. TLO attacks. He's going to try to drain those shield batteries. That Archon's been given 1,000 lives. Neeb's warping in more Zealots to reinforce. Man, I love shield batteries. Though TLO has brought queens, they're kind of like walking shield batteries. Army supplies dropping for both sides here. The shield batteries are empty, but Neeb is starting to reinforce from the other side. He's got a flank happening. TLO's got 13 more roaches about to pop, but they are far away from the battlefield. Neeb's adding 2 more shield batteries at his natural. With an Immortal popping out, it's going to be like Fort Knox. The Zerg attack is starting to lose steam. There's now Immortals on both sides of the Zerg army. Protoss has that upgrade advantage now. And those poor queens are going to feel it. TLO knows they're way too slow to escape. The Ravagers leave them behind and flee back to base. Will we see a counterattack from Neeb? Or will he try to consolidate with his superior economy? TLO's going to try to transition with his Spire. He's just tucked it away behind his natural, but that's going to take a long time to build. Neeb starting his +2 attack upgrade. That's going to start getting out of hand. And if that probe's doing what I think he's doing, he's looking for a gutsy 4th. TLO's definitely going to see that. Oh yeah, he's going to quash that immediately. I love how he kills the probe first. Neeb's gonna be forced to cancel, but he is gonna send over his Stalker Immortal party. Those roaches did not want to face those upgraded Immortals. Neeb gets a new probe to immediately restart the 4th. I think he thinks TLO has fled when he's actually just hiding behind the trees. He's gonna send out an Overseer to find out what's on the other side of the tree line and see that the base is rebuilding. And then he's gonna pop out and punish Neeb by forcing another cancel. Frustrated, Neeb's gonna concede that spot. TLO's gonna hide in the trees and see if Neeb wants to donate him any more minerals. In the meantime, he just might buy enough time to get his Spire done. Somehow he is managing to bank up enough gas for a big wave of mutas. And he's starting up a 4th. Could TLO actually come back into this? He tries a Ling run by and he gets inside. He goes right up to the main. There's 6 Lings to keep Neeb busy. The Door Guard Zealot was not on hold position. The Oracles are going to clean it up, but you can't put a price on that kind of distraction. TLO doubles down on his hidden expansion, adding a couple of extractors. 12 mutas are in production. Neeb does not have a scout on that Spire. He is adding a cannon at his main, but likely because of the Lings. Zerg's going to use the moment to attack the 3rd with his Roach army. But as soon as the Protoss Death Ball shows up, he's got to flee. It's guerrilla tactics time here. There's a sickening sound as the muta transition is about to be complete. TLO is attempting to rally them outside his newly minted 4th. And speaking of 4ths, Neeb is making one as well. He's just picked a new location. Oh, Neeb's focusing down that last Ravager. There's nothing left that can shoot up now. Those Oracles can fire away till they run out of energy. Neeb looks ready to counterpunch. He's breaking down the rocks for a new attack path. He's got 5 Archons and 5 Immortals to go with that Warp Prism. TLO reveals the mutas, but the splash from the Archons drives them off. Neeb's brought a Warp Prism too. He's able to reinforce this push along the way. The mutas cannot fight that Death Ball alone. Neeb's got a double upgrade advantage at this point. TLO either has to take a tough fight or sack his 3rd. It looks like he's gonna fight. Neeb gets on top of the 3rd and parks his army. TLO's gonna attempt to surround. He strikes from 3 angles and brings the mutas in on top of it. Guardian Shield is up and the Warp Prism reinforces. The Immortals put Hardened Shield in place. Supplies are plummeting, but TLO is taking the far worst. The Zerg army is smashing itself in its attempt to defend. The 3rd is fallen and the Archons are cleaving up the mutas. Zerg has to withdraw or it will be exterminated. There's the GG. Neeb wins the game. Neeb wins the series. Can we give it up for TLO though? That was a cool attack. A slow roach timing against Protoss? Doesn't make too much sense until you pull 6 queens and a horde of overlords, which are post-lair tech and now dropping creep in a splatter pattern right to your opponent's doorstep. It's crazy enough that it could work. I actually think it almost did. If you'll excuse the egregious armchair hindsight here, I think once TLO bust up that ramp, he crossed one of the toughest hurdles to victory. Unfortunately, TLO swung west to try to take down the Immortals. Good choice, you would think, but it turned out they were backed by 3 fresh shield batteries, and they were just way too efficient. If he'd swung east, he could have busted that wall instead. In theory, that would have let him crush Neeb's robo facility and shut down the probes at the natural. At a minimum, he could have used a round of corrosive biles and smashed the cyber core before he skedaddled. That usually delays a Protoss player pretty significantly, as it limits their warp into Zealots, which do not normally fare that well against roaches. What I'm trying to say is, cool strat. Just because it didn't work against one of the top Protoss in the world doesn't mean it lacks merit. It's got some serious surprise value, if anything. In the meantime, let me remind you to live life, because nobody wants to die in hold position. Except for you, door guarding zealots. You really needed to be in hold position to stop those lings from flooding in. To continue your StarCraft journey, Nova advises you to click the video in the upper rectangle. But Kerrigan warns you to watch your 6 and click the video in the bottom rectangle. Or you can stimpack your StarCraft experience. Subscribe to Zugzwang Starcraft. Just hit the circle. From my base to yours, Zugzwang out.